Dobroveče, ovo je emisija Diplomata, koju Euronews Srbija realizuje u saradnji sa magazinom Diplomacy and Commerce. U današnjem izdanju gledat ćete intervju sa Ane Lugon-Moulin, ambasadorkom Švajcarske u Srbiji. Pored toga, vidjet ćete kakva je bila atmosfera na diplomatskim događajima u Beogradu u proteklih 7 dana. Na Nacionalnom danu Republike Hrvatske, modnoj reviji u Ambasadi Italije, kao i na konferenciji CSR Srbija na kojoj je učestvovao veliki broj ambasadora, ali i predstavnika međunarodnih organizacija u Beogradu. A sada prelazimo na diplomatske vesti. Jerevanski dijalog održan je u glavnom gradu Jermenije. Ovogodišnja konferencija pod sloganom Navigating the Unknown posvećen je analizi globalnih geopolitičkih trendova, uključujući digitalnu transformaciju i redefinisanje međunarodnih odnosa. Forum okuplja političke predstavnike, eksperte i civilni sektor iz Evrope i šire sa ciljem otvaranja novih prostora za saradnju i razmenu politika. Magazin Diplomacy and Commerce bio je prisutan na skupu na kojem je Srbiju predstavljala ministarka Tatjana Macura, koja je govorila o načinima na koje se digitalni podaci u Srbiji koriste za unapređenje ekonomije i javnih politika sa akcentom na zaštitu žena od digitalnog nasilja. Ministar spoljnih poslova Srbije, Marko Đurić, boravio je prošle nedelje u Dejtonu u Ohaju na skupu održanom povodom 30 godina od potpisivanja Dejtonskog mirovnog sporazuma kojim je zaustavljen rat u Bosni i Hercegovini. Đurić je upozorio da bilo kakav pokušaj centralizacije BiH, naročito ako se on sprovodi mimo volje entiteta, nije samo pravno upitan, već je i potencijalno destabilizujuć. Šef srpske diplomatije u Dejtonu se sastao i sa specijalnom izaslanicom Ujedinjenog kraljevstva za Zapadni Balkan. Značajan prostor u razgovoru posvećen je situaciji na Kosovu i Metohiji, gde se, kako je konstatovao ministar Đurić, svakodnevno pred očima međunarodne javnosti odvija sistematsko kršenje ljudskih prava Srba i u opasnost dovodi stabilnost regiona. Tokom boravka u Dejtonu Đurić se sastao i sa šefom hrvatske diplomatije, Goranom Grlićem Radmanom. Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of The Diplomat. My name is Mijat Kontić, and today speaking with us is Her Excellency Ane Lugon-Moulin, the Ambassador of Switzerland to Serbia. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
I would like to start this conversation off with your diplomatic career. You've served in various postings, which include the Ivory Coast, Liberia, Guinea. How have all of these different places and postings affected your diplomatic perspective and approach in diplomacy?
Well, I think it's the beauty of this job is that you go around and you meet different cultures and working environments. But at the end of the day, diplomacy is about building bridges and connecting people, and this is valid everywhere in this planet. So in Africa, I was posted in Abidjan, but dealing with these other countries, accredited in these other countries. And previously, I was working, but from Bern, on the Balkans and the formerly called CIS countries. So I had the sense of this region. I'm coming back after 15 years to this region. It's also very interesting. You quit the region 10 years ago, you go back and you see the evolution, and that also gives you some material for your future work. Having said this, there are universal problems, universal solutions and values. And all over the planet, you have questions of economic development, governance, universality of values. These things are valid everywhere. So for us, we have also some certain lines of action that we can have in every context as well.
Now, you're the first female Swiss ambassador to Serbia. What does this milestone mean to you personally, and does it signal a broader change in diplomacy?
Indeed, I'm the first one here. I was the first one back in Abidjan, so I'm initiating
so you're always the icebreaker.
This new icebreaker, exactly, breaking the ceiling in this posting. Certainly, I think it does symbol a change of the mentality in diplomacy. In the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, we are reaching around 30% of women ambassadors, so it's quite good. There is a real effort to promote women. There is no, I wouldn't say that there is an obligation, but there is a target that we are reaching. And here in Belgrade, there are quite a few female ambassadors. So I think it's changing for everyone. And in any part of the world, some of the Arab countries are represented here also by female, quite many. So I think this is a change, and it's a good change. Yes, and it's a pride. It's a pride for me to be the first female ambassador in Serbia, an important country for Switzerland.
That's great. And you have also written extensively personally yourself on anti-corruption and asset recovery. What can Serbia learn from the Swiss approach to governance and transparency?
Indeed, I was in my previous life, before joining the ministry, I have led the Transparency International section in Switzerland, the first one that was launched, well, that was almost 25 years ago, even more. And then I have also led the Basel Institute on Governance, working on anti-corruption and asset recovery. I was more into what we can say in other countries than in Switzerland. But nevertheless, my country is putting strong emphasis on transparency, good governance, and federalism. And this is certainly helpful. For example, when it comes to citizen participation, in Switzerland, you have at the local level, at the smallest village, you have an assembly of citizens who can oversee what the executive power is doing in that village. And that gives a lot of pressure, peer pressure, to be transparent, to take part in the decision-making processes. So I would say that is actually a good model. We are actually working on it in Serbia because we are supporting Serbia in local governance reforms. And this is nothing new to Serbia. We are trying to but of course it cannot be, how would I say, it has to be tailor-made to the local context, but this is certainly something. At the federal level, there are lots of audit institutions and account chambers that are being they are scrutinizing very seriously what the executive level is doing. And of course, the parliament. The parliament is playing a critical role in reviewing what the government is doing. And all this leads to, I think, quite an efficient system of governance in Switzerland, indeed.
Now, Switzerland is one of the biggest investors in Serbia, foreign investors in Serbia, with over 500 Swiss companies operating here. What sectors do you see as most promising for future economic collaborations?
Indeed, according to the trade registry of Serbia, there are even more than 600 now. This encompasses big companies like Nestle, Roche, Novartis, the ones that are quoted in the stock market, but also SMEs or individual companies for one or two people. The most promising sector, I would say, is IT sector, for sure. Real estate also. I had a launch of a project in the neighborhood here with a Swiss investor. Industry, because I hear more and more from Swiss businesses that for nearshoring from Switzerland, Serbia is a very good option. Highly skilled workforce, labor costs that are still reachable and manageable. So I think for our industry as well, this could also become more and more attractive. Having said that, what is also very important is the predictability of environment, good framework conditions for the foreign direct investment. And this has been ensured until now, and this has to be kept and to be going on.
Switzerland was one of the first countries to confirm their participation in Expo 2027. What are your expectations of Expo?
We were the first one, the ever first one. When President Vučić met our president in Switzerland for an official visit just before Christmas, she handed over the letter saying that we will participate. We were the first one. What I expect, large audience, also to portray and to spread a good image of the Balkan region. I think it's not well known, even in the Western Europe. It's very close to Western Europe, but yet people are kept with old ideas. So I think Expo 2027 can really contribute to modernizing and making it shine, the Balkan region and Serbia, as generally speaking. And I also expect good infrastructures, good facilities for all these delegations coming in. I hope that it will also offer opportunities for business delegation from Switzerland, official delegations, and maybe artists. I mean, as the theme is play with humanity and also sports, I think there are many occasions where we can have exchanges between Serbia and Switzerland. So I look forward to that, but it's going to be a lot of work for everyone before that deadline.
Now, Serbia and Switzerland have successfully been cooperating in sectors like banking, pharmaceuticals, and manufacturing. What initiatives are in place to further deepen this economic cooperation?
Okay, let's take a look at two aspects. Switzerland is engaged with the development cooperation portfolio of 20 million euro per year. This makes us the third bilateral donor in Serbia. And within that portfolio, we have an economic development portfolio looking at promoting startup, helping them, helping incubators, SMEs development, Serbian SMEs development, working on good framework conditions for Serbia, macroeconomically speaking. So all this is through our development cooperation budget, working with the government of Serbia, local government, civil society, and the private sector, and Chamber of Commerce's. PKS and the Swiss Chamber of Commerce, for example. The other avenue is what our enterprises, our companies from Switzerland are doing by themselves or not in Serbia. We cannot interfere in that. We cannot impose anything on them. We cannot tell them, please now invest in Serbia. So what matters for them is to have good framework conditions, not only in Serbia, but between Switzerland and Serbia. And here I have to say, we are very well set. We have a free trade agreement between our two countries for 10 years now. We have a promotion and protection investment agreement, and we also have an avoidance of double taxation agreement. So all these three agreements are really shaping very well the framework into which Swiss investors can come in Serbia, and the other way around, by the way, also Serbian investors to Switzerland. So we are well equipped, and I'm very happy about this.
Switzerland is this year's host of the Eurovision contest. Sadly, Serbia hasn't made it to the final. We found out yesterday.
Sorry about this. Yeah.
But what role do you see in these events in modern diplomacy? Not just the role of Eurovision, but arts and culture in general.
It's a big pillar of our embassy, art and culture. We have a cultural fund that is being nurtured by the sponsorship activities that we have, especially for the National Day. And we do support a lot of exchanges between Serbian artists, Swiss artists performing here, Serbian artists joining forces with Swiss artists. Tonight we have a photo exhibition. Next week we have the archaeological movie festival in the National Museum. We have concert. We had the Alphorn concert 2 weeks ago. So all this is definitely very important for diplomacy because, as I said at the beginning, it's connecting people. And one of the best ways to connect people is through art. This is universal. You can hear beautiful music here. It's being heard the same in Asia or in Africa. And we are lucky because the Serbian diaspora in Switzerland is very active in arts. And there is a very good cultural scene in Belgrade and around in Serbia. So those two connect very well, and it's a large part of our portfolio as well.
Switzerland was always known for its neutrality, but ever since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, Switzerland was part of imposing sanctions to Russia and also debated revising its neutrality. Is this moment just adaptation to the geopolitical landscape, or is this something that's signaling a shift in the approach of Switzerland?
No, it's not signaling a shift. I have to make here a distinction. We have the neutrality legislation, and this is only about neutrality with regard to weapon exports and taking part by defense, with our defense, to one side or the other. This is strictly prohibited by law, by our constitution. So we are not involved in this. As you have mentioned, the war in Ukraine, we are keeping neutral when it comes to our defense industry. With regard to our neutrality policy, we have a leeway here. This is an adaptable tool. And in that particular moment of history, in February 2022, the UN Charter was broken. And there are universal values to which we are bound to respect even as a neutral state. So that breach into the UN Charter was for us far too grave. It was a very harmful thing. We had to react with our neutrality policy and adapt it, but we did it in the past as well. We have taken UN sanctions in other cases in the past. It's not new. This time it was the EU sanctions, but we were used to retake UN sanctions in some other conflicts. So we are not changing our neutrality per se, but we are using the room of maneuver of our neutrality policy when it comes to such severe wars and attacks like it was in 2022. We are part of the European continent. We share the same values. So this was the way we reacted.
And the country of Switzerland also has a strong tradition of direct democracy. Are there any political traditions that Serbia should adopt as well?
Yeah, this direct democracy, we vote more or less 4 times a year on many issues, either put forward by the government. By law, they have to not consult, but make it vote to the people, or by citizens themselves coming up with ideas, collecting signatures to make those ideas go through, and then we have to vote. Okay, it's a great system, I think, for 2 reasons. First, it builds up strong civic engagement for every citizen. Because if you have to vote, okay, you're not obliged, but normally people go, you are interested in the topics you have to vote on, and you feel like you are participating in the public life. So it gives a good sense of civic engagement to the people, and I think it helps Switzerland to have a maybe less polarized or opposing society.
Because there's so much dialogue and
Because
engagement.
there's a lot of dialogue and debate around many topics. And people feel empowered in participating into the future of their country. But then, if, the government puts forward something and the people decide not to follow the government's opinion, the government has to respect that citizen's opinion and implement as the citizen want. So it's not easy to manage, you can imagine. Sometimes it doesn't go as a representative of the government. Sometimes I'm saying, look, we have to now implement something that my government didn't want to. Okay, that's the rule of the game. So far it has made us, I would say, peaceful and prosperous. I mean, it's one of the tools, there are many others. But it's definitely something that is interesting to look at. Having said that, I mean, 4 times a year is a lot. It's also very costly because you have to send the papers and all of your to everyone logistically. Yeah. So thinking of the instrument of referendum for some very specific important issues, why not? Why not? But again, I mean, we are not promoting this as the new Bible to be applied anywhere. It's not the type of policy that we are doing. We are happy with our system. If people are interested to look at it, fine. Otherwise, yeah.
Switzerland was always known in Serbia as a good example of that as well. Now, on a less serious note, Switzerland is famous for its cheese, and Serbia has also its strong culture bounded by cheese. Have you had the opportunity to try it, and how does it compare to the Swiss cheese?
Yes, I had the opportunity to try and compare, and I especially like your goat cheese, feta type of cheese, and the smoked cheese, because this is very rare. I mean, goat cheese, not so much in Switzerland. Smoked cheese, I don't think we have. So this was very nice to taste, and I love them actually, and they can compete very well. I don't know why they are not imported in Switzerland, but we should.
Yeah, hopefully.
We should think of it. We should think of it.
It would be great if the Swiss citizens had the opportunity to try it as well. Yeah. Since here Swiss cheese is so famous. Yes, absolutely. Now, for the last question, one of the largest Serbian diasporas in Europe live in Switzerland. How do you see the Serbian community contributing to the Swiss society?
We have a large diaspora, around 60,000 people. Well integrated, some of them since decades now, having children, being Swiss, it's also difficult to know at some point who the diaspora is, because you have binationals, you have people who are only Swiss citizens now anyway. Around 60,000. well-integrated, high-profile people, university professors, medical doctors, dentists, also in the private sector. And it's very nice to see that these people are contributing economically, culturally, as I said before, the artists, there are a lot of Serbian artists also in Switzerland contributing. A famous guitarist professor is actually teaching as the applied science school in Zurich for guitar. So, I mean, you know, all of these people, they really contribute to our life, and we are very thankful to that. And it makes also our job here in Belgrade easier because we connect with them. The other week, I was, for example, a month ago, I was at the Jerevanskog Center, the orphanage, at an event organized by a business club in Switzerland, but led by a Serbian man from the diaspora who has lived in Switzerland for 40 years. So active in Switzerland, successful, now into charities because he's retired charities with the business sector association, back to Serbia, doing charities in an orphanage, and I'm there invited to also give a speech. So I can see all these bounds, and this is making us very happy. And it's, I think each of them are a little bit ambassador of Serbia in Switzerland, and some of our Swiss people here are a little bit Swiss ambassador in Serbia.
They're doing much for the relations of the both countries by doing
definitely.
that. And are there Swiss citizens in Serbia?
There are a few thousand as well. Yeah. Also sometimes binational. There are also people, Serbian people who have acquired the Swiss citizenship who decide to retire back in Serbia. Because life, you can enjoy life and you can go in the villages and so on. So we have these. And it's also interesting in our embassy, 3 local staff are actually Serbian young generation in their 30s. Serbian people having grown up in Switzerland, some of them with the Swiss nationality, and after 30 years thinking, why not going back? Why not trying Belgrade, going back to Belgrade? And they are employed now in our embassy as local staff, as Serbian staff. So
that's amazing.
It's good. It shows that there is opportunity.
So it's not one or the other, but both.
Yeah, it goes in both directions.
Both ways. That's amazing. Yeah. Your Excellency, thank you once again for joining us. My name is Mijat Kontić. You watched another episode of The Diplomat. Today speaking with us was Her Excellency Ane Lugon-Moulin, the Ambassador of Switzerland to Serbia.
Asocijacija na Italiju je mnogo, a jedna od najzvučnijih je moda. U okviru italijanskih dana mode u svetu, u rezidenciji ambasadora te zemlje u Beogradu, održana je revija Ediscena l'altra sartoria, koje su prisustvovali dizajneri i visoke zvanice iz obe zemlje.
Svake godine širom sveta Italija izvozi proizvode modne industrije u vrednosti od 80 milijardi evra. Mislim da taj iznos dovoljno govori o obimu i značaju modne industrije, kulturno i ekonomski za sve nas.
Među organizatorima revije je i vlasnik jednog od najuticajnijih svetskih modnih salona, koji je na događaju gostima predstavio 5 jedinstvenih italijanskih dizajnera koji žive i stvaraju od severa ka jugu zemlje.
We have Bruna Couture.
Iz Cunea nam dolazi Bruna Couture, iz Siraguze prisustvuje Giusy Vonafo, iz Napulja na revije je stigla Francesca Ciccarelli. Sa severoistoka Italije, tačnije iz Vicence, također imamo gošću, dizajnerku Laru Giuriati, a iz Barije je doputovala Rossana Prisciantelli.
Program Dana italijanske mode u Beogradu nastavlja se do kraja juna nizom revija, izložbi, radionica i majstorskih kurseva sa stručnjacima iz Italije. U prisustvu visokih zvanica u ambasadi Hrvatske u Srbiji obeležen je Nacionalni dan te Republike, odnosno 3,5 decenije postojanja hrvatske državnosti. U jeku globalnih izazova ambasador Hidajet Iščević izrazio je nadu da će oni biti pouka novim naraštajima, šta treba sačuvati i šta nastaviti graditi u budućnosti.
Posebno je to važno naglasiti u današnjim, ja bih rekao čak strašnim vremenima, u današnjim geopolitičkim okolnostima i u nepredvidivoj budućnosti evropskog i regionalnog poretka. Kad govorimo o regiji, kad govorimo o našem susjedstvu, želim vas uvjeriti da je strateški interes Hrvatske mirna, stabilna regija utemeljena na demokraciji i evropskim vrijednostima.
U okviru projekta promocija klapske pesme kao zaštićene nematerijalne kulturne baštine u Beogradu, na događaju je nastupila splitska klapa More, koja je izvela himnu Hrvatske i nekoliko drugih pesama. Kompanija Color Media Events u saradnji sa Privrednom komorom Srbije organizovala je jubilarnu 10. konferenciju o društveno odgovornom poslovanju CSR Srbija 2025.
Važno je da društvena odgovornost postane deo korporativne kulture, poslovne regulative i javnih politika. Društveno odgovorno poslovanje je trajna obaveza svih nas. Dame i gospodo, kada govorimo o društveno odgovornom poslovanju, u centru pažnje mora biti čovek, odnosno radnik. Nijedna strategija, nijedan poslovni plan ne može biti istinski održiv ako ne počiva na poštovanju osnovnih ljudskih i radnih prava.
Za Švedsku, održivo i odgovorno poslovanje nije samo politički okvir. To je deo našeg nacionalnog identiteta. Verujemo da ekonomski uspeh mora ići ruku pod ruku sa socijalnom pravdom, zaštitom životne sredine i poštovanjem ljudskih prava. Regulativa za nas nije teret, već podsticaj. Ona stvara ravnopravne uslove, podstiče inovacije i čini održivost standardom, a ne izuzetkom.
To mora biti neraskidivi i možda ključni deo društvenog odgovornog poslovanja je zapravo poštovanje ljudskih prava. Bez diskriminacije po bilo kom osnovu. Po osnovu vere, rase, pola, nacionalne pripadnosti, seksualne orijentacije, bilo koje naše karakteristike, to bilo koji naš identitet ne sme biti doveden u pitanje.
Svet koji naša deca nasleđuju ubrzano se menja. Klimatske promene, konflikti i rastuće nejednakosti preoblikuju detinjstvo, ali još uvek imamo priliku da ovu transformaciju usmerimo ka dobru. UNICEF vidi privatni sektor kao ključnog partnera u toj misiji. Kompanije oblikuju okruženje u kojem deca odrastaju, kroz politike zapošljavanja, podršku zajednici i uslove koje nude porodicama. Zajedno s kompanijama u Srbiji jačamo nacionalne sisteme kako bi svako dete imalo pristup zdravstvu, obrazovanju i zaštiti.
Nakon uvodnih izlaganja usledile su panel diskusije, od kojih je prva na temu CSR-a i politika prilagođenih porodici.
A to je položaj žena preduzetnica koje su u prilici da održavaju trudnoću. U ovom trenutku one koje imaju svoje zaposlene, ukoliko se odluče za to da održavaju trudnoću, odnosno da su primorane da održavaju trudnoću, naknada im se isplaćuje u iznosu od 50%. Moj cilj je, i pre nego što sam postala ministarka u vladi i napisala sam naravno i predlog izmene zakona na tu temu, je da žene budu prepoznate, odnosno njihova prava budu izjednačene sa ženama koje imaju ugovor o radu.
Prema podacima kojima raspolažemo, 60% osoba koje nisu aktivne na tržištu rada na Zapadnom Balkanu su žene. Taj broj posebno raste među mladim ženama, starijim ženama i ženama koje žive van najvećih gradova. Nije prihvatljivo da tako veliki segment populacije ne učestvuje na tržištu rada, niti da im se uskraćuje prilika za učešće. Njihov rad predstavlja značajan ekonomski potencijal.
Ovogodišnja konferencija bila je fokusirana na ključne teme poput zaštite ljudskih i manjinskih prava, očuvanja životne sredine, etike u poslovanju, socijalne inkluzije, ulaganja u kulturu i razvoja zaposlenih.